Review the context in which Hondurans go to the polls on this election day.
Honduras general elections are held in a context of poverty, extreme violence, and uncertainty. According to the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, approximately 40% of the population lives in extreme poverty. Specifically, in rural areas, 73.5% of households live in extreme poverty. In 2020, ECLAC described the same circumstances for some 700 new poor. The situation then worsened by the scourge of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Central American nation saw two major unprecedented migration crises: the migration of thousands of unaccompanied children in 2014 and the migrant caravans from San Pedro Sula at the end of 2018. In 2019, some 300,000 Hondurans migrated to the U.S., fleeing violence and misery. Honduras experiences a steady increase in social violence. Between 2004 and 2018, authorities registered 71,695 murders, an average of 10 murders per day. According to the Observatory of Violence of the National Autonomous University of Honduras, at least 64 violent acts have been committed against political actors. Organized crime and drug cartels control behind the scenes different sectors of the country. One of the most exposed is transportation. In 2020, the vice president of the Honduran Taxi Drivers Association, Ronnie Figueroa, was gunned down in front of his home. Days earlier, Figueroa had denounced the extortion and violence committed against his union and publicly condemned the poor response of police authorities. 14 candidates run for the presidency this Sunday. 3 stand out to gain the most votes. Nasri Asfur, a presidential candidate for the National Party, who was accused of embezzlement by the country's General Attorney's Office. Yanis Rosenthal, right-wing conservative running for the Liberal Party, a businessman and former congressman sentenced to 3 years in prison in the U.S. for money laundering and drug trafficking. Rosenthal pleaded guilty not for money laundering, but for having relations with the Cachiros, one of the biggest organized crime organizations in Honduras. And Xiomara Castro, candidate for the Libertad y Refundación Party. Xiomara is the wife of former President Manuel Zelaya. The main challenge for whoever wins will be the fight against corruption and drug trafficking, as well as the economy's recovery.